CNN's senior political analyst, David Gergen, was an advisor to 4 US presidents, both Democratic and Republican. He joins me now. David, good to see you as always. Bernie Sanders is 77 years old. If he is successful this time round in his bid for the presidency, he would be sitting in the Oval Office as an octogenarian. Is that what America needs?
I don't think that's what America's looking for, especially in the Democratic Party, which has now been excited by younger candidates, by women getting in great numbers. The Democratic Party sees many more possibilities, but they do look to Bernie Sanders with fondness because he did support and helped create some of the ideas like Medicare for all, as we just heard, and doing things for free college that have become staples for many Democratic candidates now, especially progressive or people on the left, well to the left. He's the father of a lot of this. So there's a fondness for him. I would have to say that I think the newness is what's attracting people to other candidates like Kamala Harris and Amy Klobuchar. At the moment, Hannah, I think that most political analysts would agree there's probably a top 3 that have emerged and who are now in the race. And one is Elizabeth Warren, one is Bernie Sanders, and the other is this newcomer from California, Kamala Harris. But we haven't heard from Joe Biden yet. And the way that our primary system is structured, his name recognition is going to go a long way toward helping him in a very crowded field. The person who has, 30% support can do very, very well.
Yeah, because when you look, David, at the field of contenders he's going to be up against, Kamala Harris, as you said, Elizabeth Warren, I'm wondering nationwide, outside of Bernie Sanders' base appeal, how does he resonate with the youth vote, with the African-American vote, the Hispanic vote? How does that go down?
He resonates well with the youth vote just because they look at him as sort of an uncle type or grandpa figure, and they just like him. But I don't think he resonates as well, anywhere near as well, with African Americans, and frankly doesn't resonate that well with women. The Trump people would love him to be the candidate. That's the reason that the president's tweeting about him. He wants to bring him forward. He'd love to go run against Bernie Sanders because Bernie, for all of the enthusiasm in the Democratic camp, is not toxic as Elizabeth Warren is with, say, the business community, but he's certainly seen by middle America as way too far to the left. Nobody has priced out these programs he's supporting now, but they would be extremely expensive, and that will come up in this campaign big time.
Some people accused Bernie Sanders last time round of having watered down the Democratic vote, of almost being responsible for Hillary Clinton losing ultimately to Donald Trump. Could he be the villain once more?
First of all, I didn't think it was fair to label him the villain. It was a hard-fought race with Hillary Clinton. They went head-to-head. She won, and he wasn't entirely gracious at times. But you put that behind you. That's just politics. I don't think he'll be as seen as a splitter this time. I think rather what you're going to see is 1 or 2 or 3 candidates pull ahead after these early primaries. And it's going to be hard for him to make that cut, I think. There are a lot of people who are crowding into his lane and may reduce the percentage of the vote. He would be so much better off if this race started with Sanders and with Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar and Joe Biden. He'd have a much better chance of that. When you got 15 people up there, it's going to diminish his popular numbers.
His brand of politics is, of course, falls under socialism, which is the other end of the political spectrum to what Trumpism is all about. Is socialism still, in some corners of America, still a dirty word?
Yes. Yeah, it's important to remember that America went a very different way through the 20th century from Western Europe and from Canada, say. There were strong socialist parties that developed across Western Europe and in Canada. The United States has never had a strong socialist candidate. We've had third-party candidates who've tried, but they haven't come anywhere close. And socialism was seen as a dirty word. It was sort of associated with communism, and people almost used them interchangeably for a long time. And the fear of socialism or this abhorrence of socialism is still pretty strong in major parts of the country, as in the South or as in the Midwest or in the Rocky Mountain states. And so, you know, the Republicans see an opportunity in Bernie Sanders calling himself a socialist, and in others in the Democratic Party calling themselves democratic socialists. They see that as a real opening, and frankly, they're going to run very, very hard at it in the next few weeks and see if it catches on, because the programs that this young woman who has caught fire in the United States among many, especially among millennials, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's put forward a progressive program that is attracting Bernie Sanders. He's going to vote for it. It's called the Green New Deal, going back to FDR, but sort of a environmental New Deal.
But she's not running, right?
She's not running, but every candidate is being asked, do you support the Green New Deal or not?
Right.
And the Republicans are trying to force a vote in the Senate among Democrats to see if they'll take a stand, because they want to use that as a bludgeon against them in the general election. Democratic socialism, it may be popular in parts of the country like California, especially the Bay Area, for example, and here in New England, it's got a lot of adherents. But if you look at the country as a whole, it is still frankly, it's going to be, the Republicans think and believe and hope and that if they use it against the Democrats, it will really soften the impact and soften the anti-Trump vote and make it a much more winnable election.
All right. Well, the Democratic field is certainly starting to look very busy indeed. We will no doubt speak to you lots more about it over the course of the next year or so. David, thanks so much.